welcome you to cremation at Mount Auburn Cemetery. Today, we want to ask if cremation is right for you or a loved one, and potentially answer some of the questions you might have. But before we dive in, we would like to introduce ourselves, providing you with a glimpse into the cemetery's rich past.
Here, in the late 1800s, our forward-thinking trustees recognized the growing need for more crematories in America. And in 1899, architect Willard T. Sears completed reconstruction of the interior of Bigelow Chapel so that it may be used as a crematory as well as a chapel. Only a year later, the first cremation was conducted on April 18, 1900. Today, we perform over 1,200 cremations a year. That's a steep rise from the 50 that were conducted in 1900.
Cremation is defined by the Cremation Association of North America as the mechanical, thermal, or other dissolution process that reduces human remains to bone fragments.
Here at Mount Auburn, we use 2 cremators, where bodies are loaded in from our viewing room. 2 gas-powered burners will heat the chamber up to between 1,400 and 1,600 degrees on average, which breaks down all organic material within 1 to 3 hours.
All remains are then taken out and put inside of an urn or any other receiving vessel. Cremation is conducted with the utmost respect and dignity for the deceased. It is an ancient practice across a range of cultures, from Roman antiquity to Buddhist and Hindu traditions, as well as American indigenous practices. Today, some choose it for its simplicity, while others for environmental reasons. Whatever your choice may be, it allows for flexibility and memorialization.
The process of cremation involves several different individuals to ensure it is carried out with respect and in accordance with all legal and cultural requirements. The family of the deceased is responsible for making the decision to cremate and for providing necessary information and documentation. They may also be involved in choosing an urn for the ashes and planning memorial services. A funeral director often plays a central role in arranging and coordinating the cremation process. They work with the family to obtain the necessary permits, complete paperwork, and plan any memorial services. A medical examiner is involved to determine the cause of death, identify the body, and to issue the permit to authorize the cremation. Our staff will receive the body and go through the cremation process. That can be viewed by the family or not. If not, then after cremation, all remains are placed in a vault where they can be picked up by a funeral director or designated loved one.
While you may assume that the cremation process begins with the specific act of cremation, it actually begins when transportation permits are issued.
In Massachusetts, transportation is typically undertaken by a licensed funeral home. Once the individual has been transported to the crematory, they are kept in refrigerated storage while all necessary paperwork and permits are received and filed by the office. Massachusetts has a mandatory 48-hour waiting period before cremation can proceed, so sometimes a portion of this waiting period takes place at the crematory.
During this time, the individual is also viewed by a state medical examiner or medical legal death investigator, who confirms the individual's identity and cause of death, and ultimately approves the cremation. When all of the necessary paperwork and approvals have been completed, the crematory operator receives official permission to begin the cremation.
First, the individual is weighed and placed on a charger, which will automatically load the individual into the retort. A flashing green light next to the loading door will indicate when the retort is ready. When the button is pressed, the cremation will begin. Once they have entered the retort, the doors automatically lock for 1 hour while the cremation proceeds. When the cremation is complete, the remains are put into a cooling chamber. Once the cremated remains and bone fragments have cooled, any large metals will be removed and recycled, and the remains will be run through a processing machine where they become finely grained.
From that point, the cremated remains are packaged and labeled, and brought to a secure vault in the main office. The cremated remains can then be picked up by a funeral director or designated family member. Cremation at Mount Auburn can also involve the family. We offer what's known as a witness cremation, where the family can view their loved one prior to the cremation, here. They may even start the cremation process themselves. This can give the family an opportunity to say goodbye to their loved one in a meaningful way. Cremation has a variety of benefits for individuals who are making end-of-life arrangements, whether pre-planned or in the event of a bereavement. One of the main benefits is the significant difference in cost between cremation and a full casket burial. Cremation generally has a much lower cost, which can greatly reduce the financial burden on families during an already difficult time. If cost is a major factor in the decision-making process, direct cremation or cremation of the individual with no formal memorial services can be an option. Additionally, many people consider cremation to be more environmentally friendly than full-body burials, though it's not 100% green. Embalming chemicals used, and in some cases required, for full-body burials can have lasting effects on the soil surrounding a grave, and the amount of land needed to accommodate full-body burials can be significant. While cremation does produce a small amount of carbon emissions, these emissions are heavily regulated by our state government, as reported by mass.gov in 2020. And new technological developments are progressively decreasing these emission levels over time. Cremation also gives families flexibility in regard to the disposition of their loved one's cremated remains. Some families choose to keep their loved one's urn with them in their home on a short or long-term basis. Other families scatter their loved one's cremated remains in a location that is meaningful to them. Some families choose to inter cremated remains in a columbarium or bury them in a grave, giving families a central location at which to grieve and memorialize their loved one. If these benefits sound like the right fit for you or a loved one, cremation may be the right choice for you. Thank you for talking with us today. We hope this information was able to pull back the curtain on something not usually discussed. Cremation is a deeply personal decision, one influenced by culture, beliefs, and personal preferences. Whether you choose cremation for its simplicity, its eco-friendly options, or because it aligns with your values, the most important thing is to make a choice that feels right for you and your loved ones. So please, take your time, explore your options, and discuss your wishes with your family and loved ones. Remember, what truly matters is finding a meaningful way to say your final farewell. Thanks again.